I come from a generation where France is not supposed to tell people what to do, and then he gets into office and he starts the same stuff. It's crazy, man. Imagine how it feels for somebody to tell you to come into your property and tell you that, look, without me, your property would not exist.
If you see me in the streets, better holler at me. Seeking for a beat, throw them dollars at me. I don't like defeat, take that away from me. You tryna be like me, you couldn't handle my story. But we gon' let you know, we gon' let you know. We gon' let you know, we gon' let you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and welcome back to yet another episode of Mr. Jay's Reaction, man. Hey, it's a pleasure to always have you on board, you feel me? So wherever you're watching me from, it could be from the US, Europe, the Caribbeans, man, Haiti, Africa, it really doesn't matter. You are my brother and I love you for checking me out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the past couple of days, man, I've been dropping reactions on the whole situation happening in Motherland, and we are going to continue on that wave, man. We are going to speak as a child of Motherland. It is my duty to talk about issues that, you know, is plaguing my continent. And of course, when I talk about issues plaguing my continent and the recent news, man, you guys already seen exactly the situation with the coups, the government topple, the ousting of some European-backed regimes in Motherland which serve no purpose to the people of Africa. Now, I've dropped a couple of vlogs already, and by now we all should know that the recent trend in government toppling, the recent trend in coups in Motherland are particularly those countries that were colonized by, yes, the oppressor, man, France. This country has been known for its tactics. This particular country has been known for the past 400 years for its diabolic, for its conniving this country has been known to rip people off, rip little countries off in the name of former colonies. Once again, let me remind you that they have been this way for 400 years. They have been this way from 400 years, going way back at 1791. The revolution that happened in Haiti. But we're going to talk about that. We're not yet to go down memory lane, man. We're going to talk about the recent happenings and the recent declaration of the leader of that country. So if you guys have been following, man, most of the countries that have been like, we don't want you anymore are the countries from this region we call the Sahel. Like Burkina Faso, from Guinea all the way to Burkina Faso, Niger, Sudan. These countries have been kicking out French. They've been revolting and protesting against this enemy of Motherland, this enemy of progress when it comes to the well-being of the African people. So a couple of countries now, Niger is the most spoken one, and then Gabon recently. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing some of these countries have in common is that they are chained financially to, of course, their colonial master, who thinks that it is their birthright to keep these countries chained without progress. Did you know that 14 countries in Africa actually are presently using a currency backed by France because they were deemed colonial masters? And as such, after independence, these countries went into agreements, a couple of agreements which we will talk about in our next vlog, so that we can bring some clarity to all this topic, so that you can understand exactly how painful this dish is. If you are from Motherland, if you black man and you want to come back to Motherland, you want to understand your root, this has to hurt you differently. These countries, 14 of them, they pay, each country has to deposit 50% of their reserves in France. And they have to make a declaration every month about their account, kind of like balance sheet, how much they've spent, how much they, stuff like that. Kind of like, I'm your master and you my boy. But we're about to talk about the recent situation, the recent utterance by he goes by the name Emmanuel Macron. You guys already know this man. It's a young cat in politics, man. Hey, it doesn't matter what kind of president the French Republic gets. They will always have the same international policies towards their colonies. Take, and do not give. Entitlement, and we are higher than you. You are so. So this man went on a media house and he made a terrible quote, a quote which has not been settling. And if you think of it, it's no news why this country for the past 400 years have been. I don't even know what term we can use again for this, but this man was like, after being asked about the recent situation in the Sahel region in Africa and these countries trying to move away from France, and this man in that entitlement, in that neo-colonialist, in that master-slave mindset, mind you, this man is from this generation, but he's speaking like past 400 generations ago leaders. And this man said, without the presence, let me quote him, without the presence of the French military, of course, we all know that they have been busy building up military bases around Africa just to ensure that they can easily take and grasp whatever natural resources that they can find. So he went on to say, without the presence of the French military in the Sahel region, most of these countries would not even have existed. He mentioned Burkina Faso, he mentioned Mali, and he mentioned Niger. Of course, when you look at the countries that he's mentioned, some of these countries have been like, man, it's okay, we don't want you anymore. We don't need your business. Get out of my place. Get out of our countries. We don't want you exploiting us. We don't want you telling us what to do in our own country. Whereas we have these resources that you are exploiting at cutthroat, man, it's crazy, cutthroat rates. So somebody might be like, man, okay, this man is very entitled. Why did he say that? But because if you look, these are the countries that told him enough is enough. See, sometimes a bully never wants you to stand up to them. Sometimes a bully will always try to keep bullying, and keep benefit an oppressor actually. Will not want you to be like, man, I got to stand up for myself. And then when you stand up for yourself, it's been shown that France has orchestrated the assassination and the disappearance of a whole lot of African socialist movement. Some of their politicians, we can go back and forth, but take this statement, for example, from this man. After being on when he was running, he was like, man, I'm coming from it. He was running to be the president. He was like, man, because he wanted their votes. I come from a generation where France is not supposed to tell people what to do, and then he gets into office and he starts the same stuff. It's crazy, man. Imagine how it feels for somebody to tell you to come into your property and tell you that, look, without me, your property would not exist. Without my presence to give you military support, security support, we all know what that is because you put them there and they are just there to control, to make sure that you steal as much as you can. Picture somebody telling you this stuff. How would you feel? Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about this because it keeps getting, we're going down the rabbit hole with this country. And as much as some of these African countries are kicking against this great oppressor from these European colonialists, until these countries create their own currencies, I'm talking about financial independence, there will never be such growth that we want. And the prayer is that some of these coup d'etats that are happening will lead us to that financial liberation where each African country can come up, or the 14 African countries can come up with their own currencies, having nothing to do with France. And just one more note before we go. He talked about Burkina Faso. When you look at natural resources coming out from Burkina Faso, you will realize that gold is one of those. But I want you to pay attention to the fact that gold is found in Burkina Faso. Now, when you go to Niger, or when you go to Mali, gold, they have great deposit of gold there. And then you come to Niger, we know that uranium is the key resource that these people are stealing. That's why they have 1,500 military in Niger, and that's why the ambassador is not trying to leave. So when you hear somebody telling you, without our military, you guys will not exist, it's because they feel entitled. It's because they think that you ain't shit. It's because they think that they can tell you, us, how to live, how to handle our resources. Man, that's my take, man. Leave a comment and let me know exactly what you think. What is your own take on this statement from this guy? And what do you feel like? I want people in France to also tap in, man. I want to hear from people in France if the sentiment is the same, because I know what politicians think is totally different from what the masses think. I mean, that's my time, and please don't forget to support us, man. Give us that thumbs up, man. You can subscribe and follow us, but I will be dropping vlogs every day. I love you guys. Be good and stay blessed.